U.S. President Donald Trump's Greenland takeover bid is tipping the balance of power in the Northern Hemisphere. After 80 years of cooperation and collective efforts, Europe has been left with the difficult choice of reimagining the future without America. North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the alliance that provided security umbrella to Europe for more than 7 decades, is facing unprecedented challenges.
Would you say Donald Trump is still an ally?
It's up to him to provide the answer. Indeed, this is not exactly the behavior that would go along with that label.
From Iraq war to Afghanistan, the United States and its allies fought wars hand in hand, but now, as the claims and counterclaims concern the NATO territory, cracks are widening within the alliance. According to a report by Politico, European leaders are in constant contact over a group chat called Washington Group. These leaders include UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, as well as European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and Finland's Alexander Stubb and Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is also part of the Washington Group chat. All these leaders are also part of the coalition of the Willing, a grouping that spearheads Europe's collective counter to Russia's war in Ukraine. But with the US President's latest threats on Greenland, the grouping could take a turn towards a security arrangement outside of the ambit of NATO. The idea is no secret. French President Macron has said that we are heading towards a world without rules. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen has time and again called for independent Europe.
That geopolitical shocks can and must serve as an opportunity for Europe. And in my view, the seismic change we are going through today is an opportunity, in fact, a necessity, to build a new form of European independence.
The narrative is sharpening from both the sides. NATO's importance and impact are undergoing major shifts, but can it serve as a sole guarantor of European security? Joining us live from Virginia, the United States, is Mr. Bishop Garrison. He is a former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense and current senior fellow and adjunct professor, National Security Institute at George Mason University Law School. Professor Garrison, it's good to see you and thank you very much for your time. Do you foresee a fallout between Europe and America? And if that happens, who gains to lose?
Well, first and foremost, as always, thank you for having me. We're definitely on the precipice. We've not seen, at least within our generation, this type of tension between these European countries and the United States. They're our longtime allies, and we've enjoyed a very strong post-World War II international liberal order. And a lot of these stresses that we're seeing from some of these various policies, from the tariffs, from the debate over Greenland, is creating a lot of tension that could definitely bring down these long-standing relationships.
Professor Garrison, there's been much talked about a Greenland issue. The issue has found its way to the forum in Davos because various leaders have spoken about it, including French President Emmanuel Macron and also the EU chief Ursula von der Leyen. Both are saying that the world may be heading to a no-rules world-based society. What do you make of their comments on this, and what do you think Trump will do when he gets to Davos?
Well, I think the biggest thing here is that, look, the EU countries are very stressed and in distress over some of these this rhetoric and some of these proposed tariff policies based on the Trump administration's desire to obtain Greenland. The territory, its autonomous government, has long said that they're willing to let the United States expand its military footprint. It's enjoyed a base there for some years that has allied troops, Canadians, Danish, German troops have all served and supported operations at that base. So to have this consistent narrative that somehow the United States doesn't have the opportunity to utilize the territory in a way that helps to garnish establishes strategic necessities and its own protections doesn't seem to fit any type of logical narrative, and the EU is worried about that. So it does bring into account our overall relationship. If we're willing as a country to push on this issue, can we be trusted? Does it mean that there really are no rules when it comes to these type of international relations at this point? And that's what I think President Macron is asking, and I think it's a logical question.
Finally, Mr. Professor, and very quickly so, do you think the future of NATO is compromised?
I wouldn't say compromise yet. I think that a part of what we know of President Trump is that he likes to be a strong negotiator, and he sees this as another point or tactic. I think it plays very differently when you're talking about geopolitics and in diplomacy generally. So I do think that there are some very direct, very necessary conversations that need to take place in order to ensure that NATO remains stable. Given the report you just gave about going into its fourth year, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, NATO is more important than we've seen in a generation, and we need to ensure that ultimately it can help us protect innocence around the world, particularly in Ukraine right now. So, and if Russia decides to push forward elsewhere. So it's very important that we figure out a way to stabilize these relationships and to strengthen the trust, the longstanding trust that has existed and been enjoyed between these countries. I don't think NATO is dead yet, and I think we have a lot of opportunity to set the ship straight again.
Professor Garrison, it's good to see you. We'll have to end it there. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.